Okay. Hello. Hi. Delayed effect. Hey, Scooter. How you doing? Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, there's a nice little group on there. It's 8:01 here in the Basque region of Spain, and I think it's 2 o'clock up on the East Coast, where a lot of you are going to be watching from. So hopefully we got all the timing right, because we had our daylight saving time this last night, and I think y'all had it about 2 weeks ago. Okay, well, my name is Andy Bonikowsky. This is my son David, and this is little Sophia, the youngest of our granddaughters. And I've actually got my daughter-in-law over here, but she's staying out of the picture, and she has our other granddaughter of theirs, Lady, and she's gonna try and keep her entertained over there. So, okay, so many of you know, some of you do definitely, that David had a little bit of a different week this past week, and so I figured, well, let's have a conversation on here and maybe give some information and some insight into a trip that um, probably is a little bit different than what many of you might think of. I don't know how many of you have been here in Europe, but it is a little bit different. And he had quite the trip come up. So I'm going to let David give us the background of how this thing came about, because 2 weeks ago you had nothing, you had no idea,
Right.
right? Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
my brother-in-law, so my wife's brother-in-law, is a pastor in southern Spain, region of Jaén, and he just posted in our family WhatsApp group a couple of weeks ago saying, "Hey, I'm going to Ukraine." Posted a little announcement. He'd mentioned something a little bit before, but just telling a little bit of what the plan was. He was planning on taking his church van and just a couple of churches in the area, whatever supplies he could gather, take the van up to Ukraine and bring back um, Christians who had been able to leave the country and were classified as refugees. He had been in touch with a pastor in Toledo, which is near the center of Spain. Uh, he's a pastor whose wife is actually Ukrainian, so he was kind of the person who had connections up there in Poland and in Ukraine, because we didn't. Well, we have a family member who's Ukrainian, but she didn't really have any connection with anyone leaving or taking care of people leaving the country or going in. So organized the trip with the one van. I think he was going to go with his father at that point, and I just told him, hey, if you could use any help, if the thing grows or you need any help, just let me know. I'm glad to help with anything I can, driving or whatever's necessary. And so I think it was for a week or so. It was kind of, we left it at that. But he started saying, well, more and more churches are wanting to participate. We're starting to wonder whether we're going to have. Basically, the request was for people to donate food and medical supplies. We had a list of things that the pastors in Ukraine had provided, saying we need these things, and started getting to the point where he said, well, we might need more than one van. We're thinking about possibly a trailer or second van. And I told him, well, I'd be glad to drive a second vehicle if it comes to that, if it's necessary. So I told him I'd just be there on standby. He and his father are both pastors, so they don't have secular jobs, and so the plan was to drive out on Monday, arrive Friday or Saturday, so they wouldn't miss any services.
Oh yeah, do it between the week. Yeah, between Sundays.
I have my English classes, but I'm able to kind of rearrange those and cancel them and whatnot. So most people wouldn't be able to. It's pretty much only pastors who would be able to do it because it's during the week, unless they got vacations.
And so it morphed quickly into two vans then, right?
Yes, it just grew. I don't think we confirmed, or I don't think we were fully decided on two vans up until a couple days before, because most of the donations came in the day before the trip actually happened. Just the way it had been organized and whatnot. But yeah, we started having people write back saying they were going to help and whatnot. So yeah, it turned into 2 vans, and it was practically a miracle that we were able to stuff everything into the 2 vans, well over the weight limit for the vans, I'm pretty sure. But because there was just a ton of things that people donated, I think it was about 15 churches in Spain ended up getting involved.
Okay. Okay, good. Our church, as soon as we heard about it, we started mentioning it to the people, and our people started bringing in supplies, food, according to the list that they had given. We took up an offering of about $400 just on Sunday. That was probably one of those 15 churches. I guess it was so quickly, it happened so quickly that that's how far the word got out. And so let me show you. I'm going to show you a picture of the itinerary. Okay, this has several parts. These other 3. So there's four drivers. David is one of the drivers. All 4 are pastors, and 3 of the pastors are in central southern Spain, and so they have the vans. They're going to drive all the way up here to northern Spain, pick up David. This is going to happen. This happened on Monday.
Yes.
Happens on Monday. They came in at about 5 o'clock, was it? 5 o'clock on Monday.
A little later, because it took longer than expected, but yes.
Okay, everything takes longer. And so they finally got up here, and then we had up here a ton of stuff between our church and Idun Church. Yeah. There was a bunch of stuff. And so so the trip from the south, the entire trip up was about close to 30 hours for those guys. David had about 23 hours of literal driving, 23, 24 hours. We did the numbers, and it basically came out from here to Denver, Colorado, from Greenville to Denver, Colorado is the distance that David's part was. It was the bulk of it, but not entirely all of it. So I'm going to say the best thing I can think of to do is just show you a picture on my iPad. Okay, you can see this is the Spanish Peninsula where David is leaving from the very top. The other guys came from central Spain early that Monday, got on Monday evening, and then they drove how many hours into France?
That first night was 2.5 up to Bordeaux.
Okay, they went up to Bordeaux, France, and then they crossed all the way over to Krakow. Is that how you say it?
We went through Germany, crossed France, went into Germany, crossed it, and into what's now Czechia, not the Czech Republic anymore.
Okay.
And spent the night in Czechia, and the end of the trip was in Poland, Krakow. Yes.
Okay, so they went up into Poland. These are the 2 vans that they had. It's the boxy kind of van, but relatively comfortable. And those are the 4 guys. Okay, so there's David. What's the other guy's name?
Rafael was the
Rafael is a
pastor from Toledo.
Pastor from Toledo. And then Jose Bernabeo is my age. In fact, he grew up in the youth group with Mimi down southern Spain, and his son Alex is pastor. So those are the 4 pastors. Yeah. And so a little bit about the trip then. It was long. What about the sleeping kind of thing?
Yes. Well, it took quite a while to get out from Spain just because there was more donated than they anticipated. He called me saying we're coming and our vans are full pretty much, and we had like 20 boxes. We had probably 25 boxes of stuff to cram in. So a lot of the stuff we took out, like boxes of diapers and put stuffed bags of diapers all in.
Redistributed everything.
Managed to get everything shut, and we said we won't open doors until we're in Poland. But so we didn't leave Idun we didn't leave our city until probably 9 o'clock, something like that.
Okay. Now, also another thing, Danny and you went to several stores, right? Yeah. And you had, how much money did you have from the offerings from the churches, and what did you spend it on?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact amount anymore.
Yeah, Danny sent a picture of being at Media Market or something. What did you buy there? What did y'all buy there?
We went to Media Mart because some of the
items like a Best Buy.
Yes, electronics store. On the list, they asked for handheld radios, radio transmitters, so like walkie-talkies.
Oh.
and battery packs that you can use to charge a smartphone or charge anything with USB. Those were on the list, and those are kind of pricey items. What ended up happening? I just posted it on my ministry Facebook page. Oh, I sent an email out, but I sent the email out like a week before we left or something like that. And in that week up until we left, there were actually 2 churches that sent us large offerings, and then a couple of individuals in the States as well came out to. I think it was about $5,500 of donations, which we weren't planning on taking up donations, and most of them said either for traveling expenses, pay for fuel, pay for sleeping, or whatever's necessary. There were the churches in Spain had also given offerings. The Lascaux Church, my dad's church, gave an offering. Several of the churches here in our area as well. So we had the traveling expenses pretty much covered by offerings, and so right at the end, I went to Media Mart, the electronics store, spent close to $3,000 in battery packs. Wiped them out. Basically.
I bet you.
They were very friendly, very happy for us to take.
Of course, they knew what it was for, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is, pro help Ukraine.
Yeah.
On the highways. I see sometimes a big tractor trailer coming by, all painted blue and yellow, and help for Ukraine. So it's very much
everyone is would love to help, basically. But went there. Also went to the pharmacy. We'd been planning ahead of time, just because Raquel, my wife, is a pharmacist. She worked in a local pharmacy here for 5 or 6 years, and we still have a real good relationship with the owner. And he told us anything we could buy, he'd give us at cost. Like at whatever the cost they could get it from distributors. So we were in touch during the whole week. We didn't know how much we'd be able to spend, but trying to get stuff. And so my wife went and spent hours calling up distributors and ordering everything she could. Pretty much wiped out the stock of the region, right? I mean, got everything that there was to bring in.
Tell us what kind of things there were. Even if they don't see you, they can hear you. Here, you can talk in English.
Tipo gasas, I don't know how to say gasas.
Bandages.
Bandages.
Luego, ¿qué más? Ibuprofen, Tylenol. What else?
Pain medications and things like that.
Yeah. A lot of
bandages.
Yeah.
Bandages and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, good. Thanks. So, how much did you spend there?
Over $2,000.
Good night.
Something like that. Cleaned them out as well. I feel feel bad for the city.
There were a lot of things that were available.
Yeah, a lot of things are low on stock here too. Not like crisis low, but you can't get a lot of them at a time.
People were telling me today they can't get milk.
Well,
their stores out of milk because they see people go out with. Well, they're starting to limit the milk that they can take out. But anyway, so go ahead.
But and the pharmacy as well, overjoyed to help out in any way they could, just because they knew it was going to Ukraine and whatnot. Turned when we put the trip together, I mean, we had just envisioned it as a way to help the pastors there in Ukraine and whatnot. But in a lot of the churches, it turned out to be a way that the community was actually able to get involved and help donate things to the church. It was going to be just Christians donating things, but a lot of unbelievers got involved too.
My wife, your mom,
our entire town, I think, donated.
We have several little stores in the little town where we live, and Mimi got to talking before you know it. They had a box there, help for Ukraine, and people were, as they'd come by, they'd pick up things, and I don't know how much it ended up being, but I ended up making a poster thanking them and everything the next few days.
Several of the mothers that my mom teaches English to or
gave money
kids gave money for medications and things. So that turned into kind of a testimony aspect of the trip, which I think was very helpful here. Yeah. Anyway, as far as the trip, so we got out later. A lot of that had to be done on Monday before we left and whatnot. And so we got to Bordeaux. It was a hostel kind of place. I'd never really been to a place like it, but they put the 4 of us in a room, fairly inexpensive but comfortable. And we got there close to midnight. we'd taken cold cuts and bread and made ourselves sandwiches and went to sleep immediately and got up to leave at 6 the next morning, because the second day, which would be Tuesday, was going to be
drive.
that was the longest day.
Yeah,
it was nonstop
day.
driving. 18 hours of driving,
mm-hmm.
and of course fill up a couple of times and eat and whatnot. But
okay.
that was 6 in the morning, and we didn't get in until after midnight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
yeah.
So yesterday I filled up my little 4-door sedan and I put in $120. How much would y'all put in when you grew up in Northern Europe where it's more expensive? Any idea?
I don't remember the receipts, but I think upwards of 140, 150 euros for one van. There was one van that got better mileage than the other.
Oh yeah,
and that's in dollars.
Yeah, 150 would be 170, $175 to fill a van.
It's a van's tank, but it was expensive. We thought it was expensive here in Spain, but man, it went up in Germany.
That's why over here we're on the border with France, and the gas stations, they're always full of French cars getting fuel, because when you go over the border, if it's expensive here, you step over the border, and 100 meters down the road, the next gas station is way more expensive just because you're in France.
Yeah, I think I remember doing the calculations. It was over $11 a gallon.
Oh wow!
Up in Germany.
All right.
And we went through a lot of gallons.
So then you went through Germany. You went into, what did you call it? Czechia. And what was it like there? The traffic, the cars. Is it just very European, or any different, or and even Poland? How was it when you started getting into those countries?
We stayed on the highway pretty much nonstop, so didn't really see much in the
countryside,
scenery and stuff.
Sure.
I was worried about more traffic. We didn't really have any traffic issues. A couple of road construction where you're relegated to one lane, so you go a little slower, but not as much as I had thought we would have. So travel was fairly smooth. A lot of things that I was worried could go wrong didn't. The Lord helped us.
I guess you were too packed to put the vans up to 200 kilometers an hour, right? On the autobahns.
Yeah. No, I was nervous.
Maybe on the way back.
I was nervous about the load.
Okay. Let me see here. So, go ahead and tell us then when you got there on Wednesday morning after about 3 or 4 hours of driving or something like that.
Spent the night in Czechia.
Okay.
And it was 3.5 hours from there to Krakow, which we left in the morning. Drove to Krakow. Of course, we'd never met any of the people we were going to. Nobody in the group knew them. It was a pastor in Spain who had contacted them and given us the address and whatnot. And we showed up, and they were expecting us. Got there, and I can't remember the time, but around 11, I guess. And parked. So it turns out the group where we went, they're working with a local church in Poland, but they were on a different part of the city from the church. We didn't actually see the church. I was hoping to meet the pastor of the Polish church, but never got the chance. It was all fairly rushed. But they were in a hotel, basically.
Give me your scooter.
The hotel had, I assume they were paying, but the hotel was helping them with basically have a logistics base. There were about 10 people on the team working out of a conference room in the basement of the hotel.
Did they all know
English?
English?
The place taken over. I think everyone knew English. Yes, They were working mostly in English. Possibly people were coming in and out, and possibly some who didn't know English and got translated. But it was way more. It was chaos. It was controlled chaos, I guess. It was just a lot
First thing
to
you
be
did
done.
is what? Say hello and then start unloading, or?
Oh yeah.
Because it seems like in that video you were half on the street, right?
Parked. Parked badly because there wasn't parking for us. Just right in front of the hotel. Carting stuff out. We made a brigade to go all the way into the room. They had a room emptied and waiting for the supplies. Of course, they've done this before, and they're planning other trips from other churches to come in.
That's all your supplies, right?
Yes, all of that we took in 2 vans.
Okay.
This was the largest amount that they had gotten at once, for sure. So it was more than they were expecting. but yeah, it didn't take us too long to unload, an hour and a bit maybe. Yeah, with a bunch of us working. So we told them that we were hoping to, by the time we finished, it was lunchtime. We were hoping to go out to lunch, and we wanted to invite any of them who could to come out with us and get to know them more and see how, just learn more about the needs and what was happening.
Sure.
And they said yes, they were going to have a team meeting shortly, and they had already said they wanted us to come to their team meeting or logistics meeting, talk about basically the things that had come up during the day, people that needed help and jobs that needed to be done, delegate them all out, and of course introduce themselves to us, and us told them where we were from and whatnot. So that was really, really neat.
Didn't y'all have to do some singing or something? Did I see a video where y'all sang some? When did that happen?
That was on the way back, after leaving.
Well, I thought you were
after
sitting in a
Poland.
room with some people singing, or was that maybe at the?
Yeah, that was in Germany. In
Oh,
Black
okay,
Forest.
okay.
But at the logistics center, they talked about a couple of families who were had just come out, needed to come in. Logistics with getting vehicles across the border. I think they had permission. Those who were outside of Ukraine could cross the border 500 yards, or could go 500 yards
And
into
meet people?
Ukraine.
And meet people, or what?
Yes, there were other team members, and most of the team members were, well, a lot of them were missionaries, a couple of locals, and there were more team members in Ukraine, in Lviv, I think is the city right across the border.
That place got bombed today.
It gets bombed every day, I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, even though it's right next to
Very
Poland.
close, yeah.
But they have people on the other side of the border who they can meet in like a neutral zone and transfer it all and take it over. They also bring people to leave. They have to go through customs and whatnot, but they can transport people. So a lot of just coordinating timing and vehicles and stuff like that. Anyway, way more work than I had imagined. It was complicated, but it was very neat. They were all, I thought it was, I guess, real encouraging to meet them. They were there serving, doing the best they could, working crazy hours to just help as many people as they could.
Yeah, trying to organize everything.
Yeah, and it's all connected to local churches. They said everything that we brought the next day would be spread out to about 20 different churches in Ukraine.
Oh, wow. Good.
Some of them past the front lines, like in controlled territory already.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just dispersed.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, this isn't critically important, but you went out for a meal. What did you eat, or where'd you go? Sure, you didn't go to McDonald's.
No. No, we wanted to try to see if we could eat something Polish, because we didn't know what they had there. No, they took us to a place that was, he said it's just Eastern European food. I had, what are they called, pierogies, which I guess Oma had made. I remember from Oma back in the day doing.
I'm not going to risk giving any details, but our family, my mom's side, Germans, were either in Poland, what today is not Poland, or they were in Germany, what today is not Germany. I don't know. I cannot keep it straight. But a lot of the foods that we would have were of Polish origin, because our German background, our families, much of them lived in parts that were sometimes Poland, and we gotta have a
someone doing over us.
Oh, sounds like a woodpecker out there somewhere. It was either Germany or Poland, depending on what war had gone on recently. So yeah.
Yeah, now it's part of Poland.
Pierogies
Used to be part of Germany. But yeah, pierogies.
Sauerkraut, did you say?
They had it. Yeah, I didn't eat that.
You didn't? Oh man, I love sauerkraut.
But they actually gave us like a plate. Like some places will give you nachos before this meal. They gave us a plate of sauerkraut and pickles.
And you didn't try it?
I had a little bit, but it was
not your thing.
I remembered it.
Okay.
Pickles were delicious, but everything, everything other than the sauerkraut was amazing. It had some sort of soup, which it totally different flavor, but I loved it anyway. While we were there, so we went with this family from Ukraine that we were bringing back with us.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So originally we planned on bringing up to like 14 people back with us in the vans, because we were taking vans kind of with the intent of bringing people back. But it's all, you can't really plan
Changes
these
from
things
day
in
to day, right?
advance.
Yeah.
Different nonprofits,
Humanitarian aid kind of
different
nonprofit. Yeah.
even like soccer teams and things like that will send buses to bring people out,
Oh, my word.
like sponsored planes to just bring people
wow.
back and stuff like that. And so it's very you can't really even know what the availability is going to be. So I guess before we got there, some of the people who we were going to bring back, who had already kind of talked with us, they were able to get rides.
Different rides. Okay.
With other humanitarian vehicles before we got there. So there weren't too many people for us to bring back, which was sad because we wanted to help, but I mean, great that they were able to come back earlier. Great that it wasn't urgently needed in a sense. But we did bring back one family. It was the wife of one of the pastors in Ukraine. It was her with her daughter and her son, 18-year-old and 12-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Basically, in Ukraine, men cannot leave the country. They're all drafted from age 18 up to 60, I think, something like that. But especially if they're in a dangerous zone, they'll send their families to the border, and the families will either go to a safer part of Ukraine or cross the border into Poland and elsewhere. And that's what this family did. They were in Odessa, which is a port on the Black Sea. Got bombed 20 minutes after the bombing started. They were leaving in their car.
Oh, wow.
And drove all the way across. And of course, the husband was a pastor, and so he drove back after dropping them off on the border.
Oh, wow. So he's still there now?
Yeah. Pastoring and I think filling sandbags and whatnot.
Oh, filling sandbags and war. Huh? Wow.
Crazy. And tons and tons of people. It's just convoys of people going in the same direction to try to cross the border.
Get out. Wow.
They went to the border with Poland, and they said they would have had to wait 2 days in the car to leave the country because of the line. And they ended up going to the border with Romania and going through. They made a long circuitous route.
And so, are there people at the border handing out water and food for people that are stranded, or no idea, or what?
I mean, I've seen videos. We weren't at the border. Krakow is a couple hours from the border. I believe so. From talking with some of the people there, there are buses, there are trains that take people across the border. It's just tons of people, and you have to process paperwork and whatnot for them. So it's like a funnel that people have to go through. But yeah, people helping there. Poland is saturated with people now. It's like half of Ukraine is in Poland right now. So
definitely
they're trying to disperse
several million at least. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So let's say coming back, then you headed back on Wednesday, and you went back into Czechia. Did you call it Czechia? And when was it that you got the really nice place? That was the next night, right? Okay. Describe that. You went to Czechia, spent the night somewhere with that couple. I mean, with the mother and children.
Mother and children, and there was another boy who we brought back.
Oh, really?
14-year-old boy.
Oh, okay. Not part of that family.
No.
Okay.
He was related to my sister-in-law.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My sister-in-law is also Ukrainian.
Okay.
And so it was her little brother, and we were.
That's
it was
cool.
Really difficult to get him out of the country and into Poland and whatnot, but praise the Lord, it worked out. So we were able to bring him back, that was really good.
So then you drove all the way through Germany, and you stopped in the Black Forest that night, right?
Yes.
The long night of travel. Well, not the last day was long too, but that one.
Yeah.
Tell a little bit about that, because Lord seemed to do you a really neat favor there, right?
Well, we had planned the stops a little bit closer together because we figured we were going to be full of vans of people. So instead of 18 hours, we were doing like 12-hour segments during the day. And we had talked with a camp in the Black Forest in Germany that was going to put up a lot of people. Since we were less, I guess the pastor here in Toledo was talking back and forth, and they ended up sending us to a family that lived there who had like a boarding home ministry. They were connected with a Christian school in Germany that had a lot of boarders, a lot of people, people who would come to go to the school, and they would live with this family. So their upstairs, their top floor was actually 4 rooms, each room with 2 beds and a bathroom. Really, really nice, just very, very comfortable, and age like infinitely better than where we spent the night before at the hostel, which all of our backs were hurting from that night. But very, very nice, and it was great to meet the couple there. They were Christian, and that night we actually, that's when we sang a couple of songs.
Oh, okay.
Amazing Grace and How Great Thou Art. And
Okay.
3 or 4 different
languages. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Half the people in the room crying and whatnot. It was
very
really,
emotional,
really
right?
nice.
Yeah, I can
Of course,
imagine.
the poor family
without their dad, right?
Right. They were troopers for sure.
Yeah.
But they were getting overwhelmed, I guess, with like gratitude and just being able to meet Christians
What
outside.
What an adventure! Oh my word! Especially for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
The daughter was actually in college. She was in Lviv, and she left with the family because like she was at the university, but every couple of hours during the day they'd have to go
downstairs
in a bomb shelter for hours on end.
Oh wow!
And it was so she could do college way better outside just through internet. Like I was giving her Wi-Fi from my phone on the trip. She was doing her college classes in the vehicle.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well that's interesting. Before we wrap it up here towards the last day, John asks if there was any trouble going through any of the border checkpoints or anything like that, or did you sail through it all? Or?
When we came to Germany, from Czechia into Germany, they did pull us over. There aren't any borders in any of these countries, even the ones that aren't part of the EU. Never stopped at any borders, but they did tell us to pull over. We were obviously vans. We had Spanish license plates and whatnot. And pulled us over, just asked us all for our ID and whatnot, and they were super, just happy with what we were doing.
Oh, okay.
They checked, one of them had like a birth certificate, just any form of ID.
Yeah.
Basically, just to show that we weren't human trafficking.
Sure.
That's a big problem. That's the only thing they were looking for. And no, it was obviously legit. They were like patting us on the back and saying thank you. And
these were like German police, or
yeah.
Really? Cool. Auf Wiedersehen, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's neat.
But, praise the Lord, no issues. We had checked up on the people in Poland, and the missionary here in Spain had checked up on what paperwork would be required and everything, so we weren't worried. But it's never fun to be pulled over.
Never know. Yeah.
They actually, I was second in line. I was the second van, and so they pulled in front of the other van and told them to pull over. And I was with the other drivers, like, well, we're just going to try to keep going. No sense risking both vans. So, like, they're slowing down, and I passed them to try to, and he waved me over as well. So it's like,
they knew you were going together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they pulled us both.
Okay.
But yeah, no problems.
And then you had to then you drove all the way across France and ended up getting in at midnight, right? Here? That was a long day.
Yes. There was no mishap in the 3,000 miles. No, more. 6,000 kilometers.
It was 4,000 miles was return.
No mishap until about an hour and a half before we got back to Spain.
It's dark. You're tired.
Yeah, well, it was dark, and so there was just a bumper lying in my lane. Which usually the roads are very, very clean here.
They are.
First time in my life I've ever encountered something like that, but I couldn't even see it until we were right upon it. And it was a big, fully intact plastic bumper. I just crashed right through it and didn't swerve. I just hit it straight on.
You had a car beside you, right?
Yeah. I couldn't. I probably couldn't have avoided it even if I tried, but I knew that wouldn't have. I knew that was probably more dangerous. But so it kind of disconnected our bumper and messed with the protection underneath, but thankfully nothing broke that wasn't plastic.
Yeah.
We ended up that slowed us down quite a bit because we stopped to see if everything was okay, and then we drove at a lot slower just because we didn't want air to yank anything off or whatnot.
Sure.
So we got in several hours later than we were supposed to, but praise the Lord. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Praise the Lord,
For
nothing
sure.
happened.
Sure.
Everyone was safe.
Okay, well, listen. I don't even know how long this has gone on. I can't. I don't see here. What time is it? I have no idea. 35 minutes. Okay, I don't see any more questions. A lot of greetings from different people, and appreciate you being with us. I don't have anything else as far as another trip. At this point, it doesn't look like it's practical or needful, although it may arise that we have another opportunity at our church. We're going to continue to we're going to have an ongoing just an ongoing offering, and whenever needs arise or opportunities to invest in some kind of your help at Ukraine, that through Ukraine, then we're going to use that money because people they want to help, and our church people are giving, and so. But we don't know if at some point. Oh, how much did you pay for fuel? Do you know more or less?
Haven't done the totals yet.
Guesstimate?
We estimated it beforehand to be somewhere around 2,000 euros.
Okay, so that's
so probably around there.
$2,400 in fuel.
Yeah, I was wanting to ask because I was talking with the people in Poland just to figure out what exactly is most needed, how are the best ways to help and whatnot. And of course, it's really early. We don't know how things will change, how long things will last, what needs will arise and whatnot. But as far as I could tell, the trip we made was very much worth it. Because part of the worry was, are we, wasting money in all the traveling expenses and effort and whatnot. As far as I could tell, it was well worth it. Partly because it's still kind of early into things. Things are getting
very
organized.
soon. Yeah.
I don't know that it would be worth like doing another trip in the same way. I think that they could use money to buy things there. They just need time and whatnot.
To get it organized and all that.
Right. They were telling me about plans they have. They are planning on continuing to import food and supplies and things like that, even from the States. Churches wanting to donate things and fly them over, but planning it in bulk and probably with trucks and things that would be a little bit more efficient.
Yeah.
They do need volunteers, so I'm not planning we're not planning another trip or anything like that. If the need arose, if they really needed help or something like that,
then we would work it out. We'd make it happen somehow.
I would probably fly to Poland and help them there with logistics for a week or whatever, depending on the needs. But that would be helpful.
Okay.
Even getting people to the airport so they can fly back to Spain and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, logistics on all kinds.
The logistics is so much more complicated than I had, I guess, really thought about it beforehand. But
and then it's not in Spanish or English either. I guess everything is in
languages and stuff.
Even ordering your food.
Thankful for Google Translate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. I think that's it. Can you think of anything else? I don't see any more questions, comments. Raquel, do you want to say anything? No. Quiet as a mouse over here. Okay. The children have been very well behaved, and we thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, you can always write David or myself, and we will do our best. We will continue to monitor the ways that we can help. Like I said, there's a tremendous spirit of help Ukraine, not just in churches, but in the society. Everybody is wanting to help in one way or another. So it gave this was definitely an opportunity to be on the forefront as a ministry, representing our church, even our church giving, just the way Mimi was able to communicate with her students and the parents in the town, and it's all a good testimony for the church that we were, on the front lines there trying to help in any way we can. So I thought that was great.
I was going to say
absolutely. Why don't you end it just with whatever you'd like? We'll go ahead and close it with that and call it.
The website or blog of the ministry we were helping in Poland is called voiceofukraine.com with hyphens in between the words. Voice of Ukraine. And they're talking about needs, talking about, of course, the things that they organize and get done. I wanted to see if we could put it in the description.
Yeah, let me put it in there right now. if I can figure out how to do that.
I think they also have like an Instagram link up there. But one of the things that was in voice-of-ukraine.com.
A hyphen is halfway, right?
Yeah.
Voice of Ukraine.
Ukraine with a K, like in English.
Ukraine.com. Okay.
One of the things that was important for the pastors here was helping people through ministries, helping people through local churches, and that's what this ministry is all about. Obviously, there's a million ways to help Ukraine, different ministries and different ways you can focus. But careful, lady. But I was very happy with the people that we met up there, and I'm definitely just going to direct anyone to them unless they know of another missionary.
Sounds like a great place and church oriented, local church.
I think it's been really useful, really good for our church. We're actually preaching through Philippians right now and talking about sending aid to war beset Jerusalem. So I imagine similar scenarios to what we're going through here. I think that's an important thing that churches should consider. So.
Well, good. Let's call it. Let's go ahead and say goodbye with that. There's any number of different greetings. So thank you all for joining us, and God bless you. And
thank you to everyone who prayed, and keep praying for all the work that goes on there.
Okay. Take care. God bless you. Goodbye.